This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
96.5 FM, The Voice, your station for the 2014 Battle of the Ravine, with coverage beginning at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, 7:34 now on a Thursday morning. Again, still traffic problems out there. My old friend Kelly Kissel from the Associated Press in. We're going to talk exit polls and politics and all kinds of good stuff. But Kelly, of course, at AP, you cover the waterfront, and traffic tends to be one of them, especially when we had what we had last December. But, boy, nobody saw this coming this morning, did they?
Oh, I know. My wife, on her way home from work last night, noticed the clouds. And since we lived up north for 10 years, we know a lot about snow.
Yeah.
In fact, probably a little bit more than we really wanted to. And she remarked that it looked like snow, and you check the forecast. It was like, no, nothing until Saturday night and the football game. And so we thought, okay. And so then get up this morning, open the windows, look outside, and it's like, holy cow, where did this come from?
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw it coming. Of course, the highway department was certainly not ready for it, and we can't blame them for that because this is the third earliest recordable snowfall, according to the National Weather Service, ever in Arkansas, or in Little Rock. Little Rock.
Yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous, but I'm thinking, this time I know it's November, I know it's cold, but I mean, face it, we are in the South. This is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. We're still playing football, folks. Let's get past that.
Basketball
This is supposed to be the South. Let's not have this anymore, but we could see flakes flying in Fayetteville on Saturday night.
Oh, I know, and as an LSU graduate, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit worried about the game, but actually, my son goes to Fayetteville. I'm going to be an Arkansas fan the next 4 years.
Yeah, so, there you go.
So hopefully the cold weather will help the Hogs a little bit. Who, at the AP, you're not supposed to be a fan of anything, stuff like that, especially teams that you cover, but. Man, what a snake-bit team.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. They have come so close. Yeah. So close. You go back to the Texas A&M game, which they seemingly had won down in Arlington and let get away, on the verge of upsetting Alabama. Right down the line, driving late against Mississippi State, could have shocked the nation by knocking off number one in Starkville. And again, I'm one of those that think they have to get over the hump at some point. I just don't know if it'll be this week, if it'll be against Ole Miss, if it'll be against Missouri, if it'll be next year.
Yeah, and when they were installed as the favorite, sometimes I'm thinking it's like, that's almost got to be the sympathy vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. So we will see, but bottom line, if you're out there right now, you still need to be careful on those bridges and overpasses.
Yeah,
we still do have icing.
It is still cold. It is. Yeah. It is. Even if it seems like it's warm in your car, be aware that outside the car, you don't want to be out there.
Yeah. All right. I'm sitting last Tuesday night, Kelly, on the KATV set with John Brummett and Roby Brock. We're discussing the election, and the polls close at 7:30, and about 2 minutes later, we're told AP has just declared the Senate race. Then we're told AP has just declared the governor's race, and of course we report that and we discuss it. Just for our listeners out there, let's kind of do a primer. What is an exit poll? How's it done? What have you?
The Associated Press, in its research over the years, or actually as an election approach, we go back and we take a look at historical election results in the major races, mm-hmm. Senate, governor, president, going back. I'm into the AP 84 year. I'm sorry,
it seems like 84 years.
31 years, dating back to 1984, and before that had worked as a stringer, and so we have access to all of these results, and we voting patterns. You essentially identify what are key precincts, and so if you can tap into the voters in those locations, you can obtain a pretty good snapshot of how the state's going to go. And in our case, we identified dozens of exit polls, and then using certain statistical models to say, okay, well, we're going to survey every fifth voter, every 10th voter, every something like that who goes through the polls, and so we give them. It's a 2-page questionnaire. Usually, I think this year was somewhere between 23, 24, 25 questions. And we ask them demographic questions. We ask them who they voted for. We also ask them, in certain cases, if there was anything that influenced their vote. In this case, obviously, Senator-elect Cotton made a big deal of linking Senator Pryor to the president.
Right.
And so one of the questions was, did you cast your ballot as to show support for the president, to show animosity toward the president, or did the president's not have anything to do with this? And so and so those are the kinds of questions, and I don't have the exact questions in front of me, but those are the tones of the questions. And then we take a look at that, and then we can say, okay, well, if that person voted for Cotton and then voted as a statement against the president, that tells us a little bit about the electorate, and says that, okay, the people who were influenced to go to the polls because of this voted this way. And then when you see that result somewhere else, then it's sort of like, okay, well, then there's a 4 in 10 likelihood that was the case, and stuff like that. And so these, we use these models and map out, and we'll do. The polling's conducted all day. And
that's
then
right.
Starting in the afternoon. It's sort of like back in 1992, because of exit polling, President Clinton knew that he was president. He knew he was going to win the race at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly.
He just had to wait for the results to come in. And so it's that kind of research. And so the AP having access to this, I mean, we're in all 50 states. We have stringers in every county in the country reporting election results to us. And so we were able to use those statistical models to say, okay, here's what we have, and here's why people are voting this way. And then, of course, in Arkansas, and when we build the statistical models, it's essentially the same model. I mean, it's mathematics. It's higher level math that they don't let me near.
They wouldn't let me near it either. I can assure you. But
right.
I mean, bottom line is, of course, the Senate race ended up being a blowout. The governor's race was a blowout. Those numbers showed that coming to the extent that there was no need to wait once the polls closed.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, the models. We start running the models for the eastern states, obviously, and those results, when they started coming in, tracked exactly with how the results were coming in from the vote. And so we knew we had a good statistical model. Say if you screwed something up along the way, then say we're looking at a race in Kentucky or Indiana, and then if it comes in and the real results are completely askew from what we have, then we say, no, we're not gonna trust the exit polls. There may be a problem somewhere. But everything out east tracked exactly with what we were seeing in the exit polling in those states, and so that gave us a higher level of confidence with the Arkansas results. And so when we came in and we saw the, what was it, 50, 56, 42, something like that, just some wild number, which was not out of line with some of the polls that we saw. Now
that's right. Some of the late polls showed it expanding. I mean, Roby Brock and Jay Barr's Talk Business poll had it at 8-9%, and then the University of Arkansas poll came out with double-digit margins in both races, and those were right on as it turned out.
Exactly, and the NBC News Mayor's poll that came out 9 days before the election showed that the race had closed to about 3 points, and that's one of those things where you get in and the race caller in our situation, one of them sits 10 feet away from me, the other one's in Washington looking at the same data, and we take a look at that and say, okay, well, this is how this race has been polling. Here's this NBC News Mayor's poll that's different from all of the others.
It was an outlier,
right? But there were still like subsets of that were one of those things that's like, well, wait a minute. And so then you weigh all of that, and then at 7:30, and then also in Arkansas, absentee votes can be reported as soon as polls close.
Gotcha.
And so you see a few numbers, and then it's just sort of like, okay, yeah, we've got good numbers. Let's go. Boom, we're done.
All right. Stay with us, Kelly Kissel from the Associated Press. We're going to talk more about this. This segment brought to you by Arrow Plumbing. Call Arrow Plumbing at 501-588-3200. I hope your pipes don't freeze the next few nights, but you've got the number if they do, or it's arrowplumbing.net.